I reviewed over 500 different print-on-demand brands, and I kept seeing the same 3 patterns over and over again. No matter how different the niches were, no matter how new or experienced they were as sellers, the ones who were actually winning, they all shared these same 3 things. And the truth is, if you're missing even one of these, then it might explain exactly why your print-on-demand store isn't growing. So I want to break each of these down for you with examples, and I want to show you what these winners are doing that's making them stand out. Let's start with pattern number 1. They all had a crystal clear and completely dialed in niche. They were not just going after broad interest groups, not just, dog lovers or people who like to travel like we've all thought of at one point or another. Instead, they were going after dachshund owners or people who enjoy a certain type of travel, such as cruises or cross-country train rides. The best brands are narrowing in on the identities, shared struggles, the values, and the perspectives of their audience. So they are not just guessing. They know exactly who they're speaking to, and it really shows just with a single look at their site. Because you can feel it in their designs, you can feel it in their messaging, and you can feel it in the memes and the comments that they make on their social media pages. And here's the thing. The more specific you get, the easier it is to stand out. Generic blends in, specific sticks. It's just the classic saying, by being a master of all, we end up being a master of none. And if you're somebody who's struggling to pick your own niche right now and figure out who that audience is that you can really resonate with, then click the link in the description below to join my completely free school community. We have over 31 hours of courses in there with several lessons specifically dedicated to exactly what we just covered when it comes to choosing and researching your niche. And moving on to pattern 2, one of the ones that I found the most interesting was that they had intentional, well-crafted designs. Now, at first glance, that might sound like, okay, great, they have awesome designs, go figure, but there's a real nuance to this that I want to explain to you. And the biggest difference here was not whether if they were using AI or standard design creation tools or working with a designer. In fact, across the board, there were many sellers who had high converting stores that were a mixture of both AI and like Canva and classic design tools. So the difference really did not come down to whether if they were using AI or not, as most beginners might think. The exciting part is that once you understand this, it's relatively simple to implement because this is where most beginner sellers completely fall apart. They go scrolling through Midjourney or Ideogram or just some random AI tool, and then they scroll through a feed of just generic art designs that, yes, look cool, but are not truly designed to end up on a t-shirt. And then they just find the first thing that catches their eye or really pops, which is normally something that's super vibrant or just has a ton of saturated colors. Again, not meant for a t-shirt. And then they kick off their design process. The top brands don't do that. Even when they are using AI, they're not letting the tool do all of the work. They are using it strategically. Their prompts are refined. There's a real concept behind the design and a true reason for every element that you see. And there's a message that they want to express that really evokes an emotion with their audience. Which sounds nice, but begs the question, so how do we get there? Well, it's as simple as asking ourselves, what would my audience want to wear? As simple as that sounds, it is so often overlooked. We are not designing for ourselves. We are designing for our target customer. So we must ask that question before we ever put pen to paper or create our very first design. Taking it further, we can ask, what inside joke or struggle or slogan would make them, once they see it, go, that is so me? What art style fits with who they are and really allows them to express what it is that they're showing on the shirt? And a quick hint, it is normally not heavily saturated AI, no negative space type designs. So they spark emotion with their designs and they get shared. And so, no, AI is not the problem. Lazy lack of intentionality with the designs we're creating is. And the last quick takeaway that I want to mention on the design side is that all of the designs that we were seeing on these best performing stores are designs that truly belong on a t-shirt or whatever product they were selling, but they are not just beautiful artwork. And there's a big difference between something that is beautiful and visually striking, but belongs on a fridge or hanging on a wall compared to something that is beautiful, visually striking, and belongs on a shirt. And if you're wondering what that is, it normally comes down to fewer colors, simpler messaging, and passes the 2-second test. That as soon as you look at the design, you know exactly what it is and what it stands for. And the simple fact is that the majority of AI designs that are not intentionally designed, where we can kind of picture what we're trying to get and what message we want it to convey to our audience before we even hit the first prompt, just do not check those boxes. And pattern 3 is the one that has by far the biggest impact on the conversion rate, and that is that they have a consistent brand voice and messaging. From the ad copy to the product descriptions, all the way to the checkout page and onto the post-purchase email, it all feels like the same voice. It feels like the same person wrote each and every word of that copy. And that voice is not robotic or just a canned template. It's something familiar and personal that the customer would actually want to talk with. The best brands are the ones that make their customers feel seen, and the copy is short and succinct, and the tone is consistent. And the jokes and references, even the call to actions, all sound like they're really coming from one human who just gets them. And what's truly crazy about all of this is that it's not just about what we're saying to our customer. It's also about how you show up across the board. Everything from the colors that we're choosing to the mock-ups to the typography, it's all reinforcing the same brand identity. And it's all telling our customer, this is who we are and we see you, you belong here. And the best part is that you don't need a professional photographer or expensive photo shoots or a pricey branding agency to make this a reality for yourself. The simplest way to make sure that you are applying this to your brand is to put yourself in the shoes of your customer, starting with your ad. So look at it on mobile and click all the way through the funnel and really analyze it for yourself and say, does this sound like the same person writing the same message to the same customer? Or does it feel disjointed? Like, I don't know, maybe somebody took different courses as they were building out their brand. And here we sound like Don Draper. Then over here, we sound like Gordon Gekko. Then over here, like kind of a little bit of Martha Stewart. Like that can be great and entertaining, but it certainly will not convert. And then when we take that a step further and look at all of the colors that we're choosing, like for example, if we have bright and overly vibrant mock-ups in the ad creatives, but then when they get to the site, it's like, you know, neutral pastel tones, they might look good individually, but they need to have a cohesive story being told when we are trying to optimize for a high converting store. And that's the third and final pattern that all of these brands had in common. At no point going through their funnels did I feel like that was disjointed or I felt like I just stepped into an alternate reality. It always felt like it was coming from the exact same source. And more than that, it was trying to speak to one specific person. So all in all, here's the takeaway. If your store is not growing right now, then go back and check each one of these 3 patterns for yourself. Do you really know your niche? Are you overly broad? Are your designs actually intentional? And perhaps most importantly, is your brand voice consistent and emotionally resonating with your audience? Because I'm telling you, after coaching hundreds and hundreds of people through this process, it is never luck. And the best news is that it is far simpler than we oftentimes make it out to be. Not to say that it's easy, but oftentimes it is a 1 or 2 degree shift that can take us from negative, losing money, to break even, and then eventually profitability. There are absolutely no guarantees. This takes hard work and consistent effort to make it a reality, but the minor adjustments is where the majority of the gains are often had. And the good news is that all of these things are extremely learnable. So give yourself some grace. Give yourself credit for showing up and putting in the effort, and the rest will come with time. And eventually you will be able to start building a brand with intentionality and making something that really resonates with your customers. And if you want to learn way more about this and how we've built 8 different brands to $1 million in their first year online, then click the link somewhere around this video to get access to our free 31-hour course. We take you through the entire process from start to finish. I would love to see you in there. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.